So she passed her test. She passed the test. I was going to get this whole, suspense building intro, but nope, she made it through. She made it through. I wargamed. I've been worrying about this for weeks. I mapped the route out there, and then I looked at it in Google Earth, and then I virtually drove it in on Google Street View, and then I drove it in the family car. Then I did a dry run in this car. And I was feeling pretty confident. And then on Monday, the freaking thing dies on me. I'm celebrating because I had done the dry run out there the day before. So I'm celebrating. I want to just drive her over to McDonald's and get a chocolate shake. I thought that'd be nice, right? Celebrating. She dies in the drive-through to McDonald's, of all things. She starts bucking and dying and backfiring a little and just kind of running and kind of not running and sparking and not sparking, and you can tell it's just things aren't good. I'm able to keep her running long enough to back out of the drive-through, and I wrenched the hood open, started poking at things. A guy who was moving stuff, it was moving day, offered me some wrenches. I thought that was very nice. Two college girls walked by, and they were like, one said, "Hey, super cool car." And I said, "It'd be cooler if it was running." And they laughed, so that was nice. Got a laugh out of some girls. That was pretty cool. But it turns out it was, in fact, a bad condenser. Here's the bad condenser. This is straight from Moss Motors. This was in a complete Moss Motors 25 HD brand new distributor. This was the thing that came in it. It probably didn't have but 10 miles on it. 10 miles and this thing failed. So I have one of the orange leads on. We'll see how that goes. I went so far as I actually have the original condenser from Greenbean, from Morris, the GT, if need be. But it went okay. Man, worrying about this, the anxiety I've been having about getting this done, just like heart-stabbing anxiety. Every time I'd remember I'd go out and do this test. And to make matters worse, she runs a little hot. She's running at about 220, which I've run the math. Because you add in the antifreeze, which is also anti-boil, also the 15 psi of the cap on the radiator, and you raise your boiling temperature to like 256 Fahrenheit or something at this elevation. So I'm good with that. There was no problem. She went up to temperature a little better than, well, I don't know, 3/4 and then another 1/8 towards hot, but she's for the most part stayed there. And today has been a smoker. It's been 38 centigrade, so it was in the mid 90s when I drove her all the way across town and then down onto the highway, and where she was doing 65. And so she's running at the high end of fine. I want to look at the thermostat, but I stopped myself last night from doing that. I was like, the last thing I want to do, I'm not going to do that right now. That would be stupid. So I didn't, and she made it the whole way. And then directly afterwards, that's how hot it is. Directly afterwards, I went to the DMV. I got all the paperwork done. It's all done. The test itself, I got there. I had done all this wargaming, and I made sure that I had all of my paperwork, and that I was trying to think of every possible safety thing the guy might look at. I mean, I was doing stuff like, I don't have a sprayer head for my windshield wiper at all, so I just had to make this ad hoc one and pray that he asked me not to use it and justify how that would work. It does work, but you understand what I mean. But so I got there 20 minutes early. I had my attaché case with all my paperwork and everything, all my receipts absolutely ready to go. I had some forms in duplicate just in case. I wasn't sure which information they needed. I got there 20 minutes early. People in front of me got failed. That's what it looked like to me. The officer was like, that's the way it goes. You got to get that taken care of and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, God damn it. He's a hard ass. I'm going to get it who knows what questions he's going to ask me. Who knows what pop quiz I'm going to get on the safety of my car. And he walked up, big guy. He walked up and he said, is this car on a salvage title? And he looked like he was dreading the answer. And I said, yes, it is. And that is stamped in the B-pillar. And from that moment on, his entire demeanor changed. And I listed out a form of all the stuff I did, and it didn't cover a tenth of it, I'm sure. But we were looking at stuff, and he asked me, he was like, hey, okay, so, just what did you do to the car? And I told him, I was like, I worked on the electrics. I can get going if I'm really warming to a subject. I tried to keep it short. Went through all the electrics, touched every bit of the electrics, interior, did all the brakes, blah, blah, blah. And he was pretty happy with that. And he tested my signals, front and rear, my headlights with the signals, my horn, and my windshield wipers. And that's it. Other than that, not a problem whatsoever. And he had me done in like 10 minutes. He was really super duper nice about it, I guess. He liked the look of me or something. The last thing that was fun is when I was driving there. So I just kind of pulled out of the house I was driving, and I'm at a light worrying, because the temperature, I just want to make sure temperature's okay. Somebody yells, hey, MGB. And I turned around and there's some older dude with his head sticking out of the side of his car, taking a right. And he said, hey, MGB. And he's like, that's an MGB. And I was like, yeah. He's like, what year? I said, 1969. He said, I had one. I said, great. And he peeled off, and he thought that was pretty neat. And, the highway patrolman thought it was pretty neat. She made it there. Everything worked. And now I've got tags that are good for 5 years. And that's awesome. So congratulations all around. Thank you all, everybody, for watching this video. It gave me sort of impetus and courage to continue, knowing that people were invested in the outcome of how Greenbean has gone. I've still got a lot to do. There's a lot to do. I do want to put a top on her. I've discovered that this side is sitting about an inch lower than this side. A lot of the welding around the leaf spring on this side was done in the front. When the car became apparent it had too much rust, the guy was driving, and this front of this leaf spring came up through the bottom of the car. So that weld right there, it's like it's high. And so this whole car sits, I swear, like an inch lower on this side. This is an optical illusion. I have to bolt all this stuff in, go through, really tighten things down. I only have one of two vents. So one of these days I want to have the heater hooked up. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, it's what I would really like. There's just a ton to do. It looks far more complete than it really is. It's an optical illusion. Anyway, that's the last of it. I want to thank you all for watching the video and keeping up with the Greenbean. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to add what I noted about how she drove. She's peppy. The car is too rattly for me to tell if it feels tight or not. It sounds really rattly, which makes me think that everything's really loose. I think that might be just the crap that I have in the trunk. Possibly that thing. It shifts smoothly. When the transmission is in neutral, it's pretty hissy. I can hear it outside the car, but it shifts smoothly. I don't have any problems with the synchros or anything. So far it's been just absolutely fine. The biggest drivetrain mystery I have now is I've got to get the differential fill plug out. I've gotten the drain plug, but you can't drain it because if the fill plug is still stuck, then you will never get new lubrication in there, and I don't want that. So I've got to figure that one out. I know the solution. It's just a pain in the ass. So you have to modify a tool. Shifts smoothly. Brakes are a little soft. I had to pump every now and then. Clutch feels fine. Clutch feels just fine. I think the biggest things that I'm going to need to deal with now is I've really got to get the carburetors figured out. That's something I really have to do. And also, I'm going to go through and redo the timing. That's another thing I'm going to do. Okay, there we go. Final thoughts done.